Hello everybody, my name is Blackblade and welcome back to Vlog Part 3 of our build of Fire and Ice. And as you can see in the video above, that is already a Lyra from the, of course, Merciless difficulty. And yeah, so I was surprised with this build simply because of the amount of damage that we are doing. As you can see there, we are just completely mowing her down. And you know, at times because of our glacial, what do you call this? Glacial Cascade, you know, she kind of freezes and stops before she could cast any before she's able to cast any spell. And you know, it was a really fast kill, and I really did not encounter any problems whatsoever. And you know, as far as build goes, you know, I think the build will hold up until the you know, last part of the Merciless difficulty, which is of course Act 3. And of course next, as you can see over there, that is already Crichton. Very fast kill. As you can see, I think I've killed him for about only 12 seconds. So yeah, the build is working perfectly well. As you can see, even though we don't have any life leech, and yeah, we have barely, you know, very minimum amount of life regeneration, we were able to kill him at a very fast rate. And now for the toughest of the three, let's get into Oak. Now I am a bit surprised about Oak, and I'm a little bit confused because in my previous build, the Molten Strike Duelist, I was having a little bit of trouble with him, specifically when it comes to the life leech part. But as you can see in the video above, of course, the build doesn't have any life leech, but I was able to kill him rather, you know, completely fast, even faster than the Molten Strike build. That is, of course, considering that the Molten Strike build is using a claw, and when we're using a claw, of course, we have some life leech and we have more survivability. And of course, next, let's get into Val. Alright, so when it came to Val, he was actually quite difficult, simply because of the fact that we haven't really capped our what do you call this, our lightning damage, I mean our lightning resistances, and I was having a little bit of trouble when it comes to his lightning attacks. As you can see there, you know, his lightning attacks were doing significant amount of damage, considering, of course, number one, like I said before, you know, we don't really have that much of lightning resistance, which is really bad. And of course, for the fact that we don't have that much of a life, as you can see, we only have 2,900. But you know, I didn't really feel the need to get back into town, and I was able to kill him at about 1 minute or so. Still a pretty long fight, but still, you know, you have to consider that I haven't really maxed out my resistances, and my life is really low. Alright, so enough about that. Let's get into the build proper. Alright, so here's the build. We've progressed so far by, of course, going down, taking the water dancing skill node, and of course going down, taking some more life, some 8% maximum life over here, and then some more golem's blood, and then of course getting the diamond flesh. Now I did get the diamond flesh simply because I'm kind of lacking when it comes to resistances, when it comes to the cold and the lightning resistances. As you can see, the cold and lightning resistance, we're not doing pretty well. Only 40% on the cold, and of course 59% on the lightning resistance. Now the next plan is, of course, to get some more elemental resistance, some more resistance loads, simply because I just cannot get them on my gear. You know, I've tried to look for some better gears on the trade channel, but the problem is most of the gear with life and resist stats or attributes in them are really expensive, and I don't really have that much of currency as of now. So I'm really not planning on changing my gear, so that's why when it comes to the resistances, I'm going to get them on my skill tree. So yeah, I'm going to go here and get some dexterity, some all resist over here, +6, and then I'm going to get the +15% cold resistance over here, and then up on top, since I'm missing some lightning resistance, I am going to get some more resistance over here by taking this intelligence node right here, and then of course +6% all resist, and of course getting evidently the +15% lightning resistance. Now after I get all those nodes, of course I will get the twin terrors, because an additional 125% to our critical hit chance is really good. But I'm still kind of thinking about either getting this one or just simply getting some more what do you call this, critical hit strike multiplier, so that our spells deal more damage, because so far, you know, on my testing, the skill is actually proccing really good. With a couple of attacks, the two skills, the Glacial Cascade and the Flame Surge, are actually I'm casting really well, and you don't really need to, or I don't really need to attack that many times in order for the skills to cast. But then of course there are some times like you hit for like 15 times and then nothing really comes out. I mean, I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, I haven't, like I said before, I haven't really changed the gear. As you can see, life and resist. Life and resist with critical hit chance on my amulet, and of course I have golden crisp on both of my offhand and my main hand weapon because of the 80% increased global critical strike chance, which will help a lot. As you can see, 80 and 80, that's pretty good. And of course I'm using a diamond ring with 2 resistances. It's really sad that it doesn't have any life. You know, I'm not really lucky when it comes to re-rolling life on these 2 amulets that I have. Of course, same with the other amulet. What do you call this, diamond ring, and 2 resistances. For my armor, I'm still using the varnished coat, and for my gloves, I'm still using the Maligaris Virtuosity for the 50% global critical strike chance and the 41% increased global critical strike multiplier. For my belt, I'm using a leather belt for the life and resist. I really need this one. And of course, for my boots, I am using the this one for the life resist and of course the movement speed. Now, when it comes to our stats, we're doing pretty good with I mean, it's okay with our armor, 3,895. Of course, if we pop in the, what do you call this, the granite flask, that bumps up into 13,588 with a damage physical reduction of 70%, which is really good. And of course, we are not doing pretty good with our cold resistance at 40%, and we are not doing pretty good with our lightning resistance at 59%. But if we finally get all of those resistance load, I am hoping that we could, you know, get it up until, you know, at least above 65%, which would be, you know, I think okay. When it comes to our damage, our what do you call this, our dual strike is doing a 2,694. That's overall damage, and of course our critical strike chance is 72.5% on our main hand, and our critical strike damage multiplier is at 279%. I'm hoping to really bump that up. Our offhand is doing a 69.7% critical strike chance and a 279% critical strike multiplier. Alright, so I guess that's about it. Our life is at 2945. It's really low considering that we are already on Act 3. And yeah, I am planning to bump that up when I get into further levels by getting, of course, some more life nodes. As you can see, I haven't really completed the life nodes, the essential life nodes over here. And we have some more essential life nodes over there. So once I complete that, I'd probably be in the 3K mark, or hopefully in the 3.5K mark. So yeah, we're not doing pretty good when it comes to our life, and our mana is at 414 with an effective mana of 56. We are of course using 2 auras, the haste and the grace aura. Now I did choose to use the haste aura simply because that without the haste aura we are attacking quite slow. It's really slow and it's really painful in my opinion. That's why I use the haste aura. But you know, you guys could use the what do you call this, the all resist aura. I forgot what that is, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can use that instead if you're, you know, if you're lacking resistances and you're okay with attacking really slowly. All right, so I guess that's about it. I've talked about everything. CW on my other gems, I'm using CWDT, Molten Shell, Enduring Cry, and Life Leech. I'm using increased area of effect, CWDT, and critical weakness, enhance and empower over here for just leveling purposes. I'm using casting critical strike, multi-strike, the flame surge, and glacial cascade, of course with dual strike. And of course I'm using a portal over here, and I'm using for my auras I'm using a reduced mana, some haste, and some more grace. And for my other CWDT, I'm using some life leech, some lesser and multiple projectiles, and of course some arctic breath. Alright, so enough talk. Let's get into some gameplay. Now I do apologize guys if it took me so long to upload a video. You guys know the drill. I have work, and when I have work I need to focus on them. So as you can see, I am having trouble a little bit with mana, but that only comes up when, you know, when I'm not hitting anything. But when I do hit something, I really have no trouble with mana. As you can see, the the flame surge and the what do you call this, and the glacial cascade are casting pretty well and pretty often. We're not having really any much trouble with them when it comes to, you know, how often they cast. Although you may encounter that sometimes they might not cast. What is going on? I am having some lags. Yeah, what I mean is I'm having some desync. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, yeah, we are mowing down enemies quite at a fairly good rate. I haven't really gone into Gravicious. Quite honestly, I'm a little bit worried and I'm a little bit scared, simply because he does a lot of damage, and I'm only still at 2,900, which is pretty bad. I may change some of my rings for some what do you call this, life and resist ring. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm probably going to do that when I get, or when I finally get the Twin Terrors, because the Twin Terrors will absolutely, you know, add a lot of critical strike chances. As you can see here, it's about 75, 25, 25. That's 100 and 25 more skill points to the to our critical strike chance. So I guess that's about it for this episode, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, see you guys for the next part of my video. Have a good day. Of course, I went up in the blood burst for a huge 45% increase.